Howdy folks, today we're going to recreate a long lost cocktail ingredient. It's called forbidden fruit liqueur. It's delicious. Let's go. Now, I did actually make a video about this already. It's probably been 2 years by now. It's not a great video, but it gets the job done. But I decided to make forbidden fruit liqueur again because it's really good, so we're making another video. Now, forbidden fruit liqueur is an old cocktail ingredient that you'll see mentioned in the Savoy Cocktail book, among other books. It's basically a grapefruit liqueur with some herbs and seasoned with honey. Side note, forbidden fruit in the old days was made by this place in Philadelphia, the Charles Jacquin & and it came in this sort of globe-shaped bottle. If you've ever had Chambord, that comes in, you know, that spherical bottle it comes in? Well, that company discontinued the forbidden fruit liqueur, and so they just started using the packaging from the forbidden fruit for the Chambord. Now, there is one place in Colorado called Lee Spirits that is actually making forbidden fruit liqueur. I have not tried it, and I don't get that here. But if someone out there is in Colorado and has tried it, let me know in the comments. That is the only commercially available one that I know of. So if you want forbidden fruit liqueur, chances are you're going to want to make it yourself. Now, I found the recipe that I'm using on a blog called the Savoy Stomp. This was a very cool blog back in the day when blogs were cool. So this blog was made by a fellow named Eric Elstead, and he went through the entire Savoy cocktail book and made every drink. When he came across ingredients that he couldn't get, he would simply recreate them. This is also where I got my Swedish punch recipe. It's not being updated and it's pretty much gone now, but if you're clever, you can use the Wayback Machine, you can still check it out. So let me show you what I did to make the liqueur. Now for this you're going to peel some citrus. I used a pomelo, a blood orange, and a bergamot. You don't need to use those exact ones. If you can't find a pomelo, you could use a grapefruit. A pomelo is actually an ancestor of a grapefruit. If you combine a pomelo and an orange, you get a grapefruit. I like to use Seville in this, but the Sevilles weren't out yet, so I used a bergamot. Something with a little spice to it is fun, and blood oranges are just pretty good. You could use a regular orange. You could even try a lemon if you wanted to. I like to stick with the orange family though. Now we're going to peel all these, put them in a jar with 300 milliliters of vodka and 200 milliliters of cognac. We're going to put in some cardamom and a tonka bean and let it sit for 2 weeks. I like to put cardamom in, that's good. You could also use coriander. If you can't find a tonka bean, I would put some vanilla in or a star anise. Something to complement the citrus flavors. But you know, there are no rules to this, so suit yourself, it's gonna be fine. After 2 weeks, you're gonna strain out the peels, and then you're gonna add 5 or 6 ounces of honey. I do find that you need a fair amount of honey just to counteract the sort of sharpness of the grapefruit and the spiciness of the bergamot or the Seville if you're using that. You can always add more honey to it later. In fact, that's what I did. I put some more honey in, it wasn't quite sweet enough. On another side note, after a little while in the bottle, this is going to develop quite a bit of sediment. So I just siphoned off the liqueur off of the sediment just to make it a little bit clearer. And there you have it, forbidden fruit liqueur. Let's give it a little taste, shall we? It's got a very citrusy aroma. Of course, you can smell the honey as well. I mean, it's a little sharp on its own. Grapefruits and pomelos are a little bit bitter, especially in the peels. And they give you this sort of sharp back of the palate zing. That's why you gotta add the honey. It actually works much better in cocktails than it does just to drink on its own. At least my homemade version does. So for cocktails, what I like to do is sort of pretend the forbidden fruit liqueur is grapefruit, just sort of sub it into cocktails that already exist that use grapefruit. And then I can stir the drink instead of shake it and make sort of a boozy variant on what would normally be a sour. I did a Division Bell last time, and that was really good. I actually ran out of Aperol because of the live stream we did last week. Go check that out if you haven't seen it. So this time I think I'm gonna do a brown derby. A brown derby is normally bourbon, grapefruit, and honey. I'm gonna do bourbon, forbidden fruit. I am gonna put a little extra honey in it. I find that it needs a little sweetness, but I'm also gonna add in these Driftwood bitters. If you follow Souther Teague on Instagram, he sometimes will offer up things for sale. He's always got a lot of irons in the fire, a lot of projects he's got going on. This time he made these Driftwood bitters that are grapefruit and cinnamon bitters. They're pretty good. Anyway, let's mix this drink up. We did it. Got our Forbidden Derby. Let's give it a taste. The bourbon and grapefruit go great together. Brown Derby is a great drink. Those Driftwood bitters just add such a nice sort of texture to it. Like it's hard to describe, but like a little spicy back note. They really just sort of pep things up. This is really good. The liqueur, it mixes much better than it drinks on its own. It's got like it gives you this whole grapefruity honey vibe, but it isn't, it's sort of mellowed out by the other ingredients. It's a little sharp on its own. Anyway, this is a great drink. It's classically a sour, you know, like a shaken drink, but this is now it's boozy and stirred. It gives it a, you know, a transformation that you gotta love. Anyway, I hope that was fun for y'all. Go out and get yourself a pomelo or even just a grapefruit. Make forbidden fruit liqueur, it's delicious. All right, thanks for watching. Go ahead and subscribe and hit the like button. We will see you next time.